Why do y'all think the movie has like it resonated with like everybody, all types? It's not like like a movie like that's like just Black folks know about it. Like it's a movie that resonated with everybody. You know, it's a classic.
It's like the Coolie High of our time. That's what Coolie High meant to me. What House Party means to that generation and beyond. It resonates because it's relatable. I don't know how relatable it is in these times. When's anybody been to a literal house party when their parents go away? But at that time, it was very relatable. And the genius of Warrington and Reggie Hudlin, the interesting thing that they did that I'll never, ever forget was they said, if you notice, nowhere in the movie do they mention a city or a place.
Mm-hmm.
And they did that on purpose so that it wouldn't leave anybody out that would watch it and subliminally think that couldn't happen to them because that only takes place in Chicago or New York. And that was brilliant of them. So just the relatability of it speaks volumes, and seeing people that look like themselves, and that's what I believe is the DNA.
But you know what though? One of the things I look, we all have this great 20/20 hindsight when we're 30 years down the line and get the luxury of looking back at the work we did. But I think first and foremost, House Party spoke to the culture first. House Party was Black first. House Party was Black and brown first, and then it crossed over. But I think that the perspective that Reggie and Warrington wrote from, and the fact that they brought into hip hop and R&B personalities and great African American actresses and stuff like. So we meant something first to us, and then you could carry that credibility. We didn't try to leap over. We didn't try to cross over first.
Mm-hmm.
We had to and I don't even know if that's some, I wasn't smart enough to think about it at the time. I'm looking at it now, but I think that was important because we know, when it crossed over, we didn't get no backlash for crossing over because it didn't look like we were crossing over. It looked like they was crossing over to us.
Exactly. Yeah, they came to y'all. It wasn't.
I
also think that there's so much more in the movie that's actually bigger than color lines.
Mm-hmm.
I think, what stands the test of time are the friendships and the chemistry. Kid and Play were already established when they came on the scene in terms of the film.
I can hear that, kid.
And they brought their friendship to the screen. A lot of people didn't know that Tisha and I were just becoming friends, but still not long time, but deep friends. And so I think all of us brought that element of friendship that's kind of colorless, that everybody in high school wants that buddy. Everybody in high school wants that good party. Everybody in high school skips out against their parents' decision that you can't go and you go anyway. So I just think, there's a lot that all cultures can relate to. And the music was bumping, the good time was had. So even above and beyond the African-American experience, I think all these years later, obviously, it's everybody who wants to have a good time, wants to have a house party, wants to have that good friendship. It's all there.
Yeah. And don't forget to let them know that, you and I, AJ, had a baby named Tyrese. So that was
or actually a baby named Jody.
Jody, my bad. Yeah. That's his middle name.
Can I tell you something real quick, like just as an aside, and I think it rep certainly for the relationship that Play and I have, and Play and I had in the movie, and the relationship that Tisha and AJ had in the movie. Like all these years, people would come up, and it would get to me. They would come and, it'd be somebody coming up after one of our shows or after a stand-up show of mine or whatever, and be like, yo, man, when we was growing up, when we was in high school or we was in college, they used to call me and my man Kid and Play. Like, and over time, what you find out was it meant friendship. It meant loyalty. It meant like something special. Like, yo, man, don't try to get between them two. Them dudes tight like Kid and Play. or or as tight as Tisha and AJ were in the film. You know what I mean? Like it's little stuff like that. I think that sometimes we can overlook, and when you look at it, be like, yeah, man, me and my boy was tight like that. Me and my homegirl was tight like that. And I think so. Those are some of the underpinnings of the movie, that I'm smart enough to analyze now and understand. But
were the friendships on that we got to see, like the relationships on camera, were they reflective of how y'all really were in real life?
I don't think it would have been successfully convincing if it wasn't. The fact that Kid and I didn't have to take, a test for the roles or anything like that. That was something that Reggie and Warrington recognized from our music videos prior to. And the same chemistry between AJ and Tisha, it didn't take, the chemistry was there, and it wasn't anything, it was organic. It wasn't anything that was, had to be, and not to throw shade or have anything against others who tried to recreate that in other movies. You don't see that same kind of chemistry in other films. You can, some of them that were hits, it worked, but it wasn't as convincing. But that's because Kid and I and AJ and Tisha and them came from a place of it not having to be manufactured.
Was a movie written for you guys, or did you audition? Were they just looking for rappers?
No, that's what it was. It was specifically tailor-made to a certain degree for us. They wanted us originally. There's a story that's out that there's some truth to it. I keep hearing it get twisted, where New Line Cinema wanted to hedge their bets because to them, Kid and Play was unknown. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, they knew of, Will and Jeff, Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff, mm-hmm. and they wanted them to do the roles. But Reggie and Warrington stuck by their guns in regards to wanting us. We did go up to the offices of New Line Cinema to do some acting that I thought we did horrible. But one of the VIPs, it was around lunchtime when we were done, one of the VIPs decided to walk us down outside as he was going to lunch and walk us out of the building. And it just so happened it was lunchtime for all the neighboring high schools in the area in Manhattan. And when they saw us, we literally, and I do mean literally, got mobbed. And the VIP hurried back upstairs to tell the other people, no, we need to grab these guys now. So
that's nothing but fate right there.
Yeah. Amen.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
You got to
try living it.
Yeah, you got to be good, but a little luck doesn't hurt, right?
Ain't that great to bomb an audition as you felt like you bombed it, but then you go outside and then you're reaffirmed by all the love.
I remember that day he's talking about. I was like, oh man, I thought I don't know what it was. I mean, because any other day, me and him clicked like. You know what I mean?
They was asking us to do some impromptu stuff, like act like you're going to kill each other, act like you're a doctor, all this stuff that we couldn't relate to. You know what I'm saying? It was a cold read or whatever you want. It wasn't even a read. We even had papers. They're just yelling out stuff for us to do. So even Denzel might not have pulled that off.
Right. That sounds like that's not a comfortable thing to go through.
Yeah.
When did you know the house party was a hit?
When did I know? Mm-hmm. Honestly, the morning after it opened.
Okay.
I was kind of the newcomer of Tisha and I. So as close friends, and for her to be the bona fide actor, we met during school days. So Tisha was actually the star of school days, and that was my first speaking role, and actually got me my Screen Actors Guild union membership. So by the time we did House Party, it was really my first starring role, and I didn't know what to expect. And I just felt like we were all there having a good time, and I thought we did a good job of that. Nobody was on any star power or anything. Reggie was very collaborative. We just had a good time when they happened to capture it on film. But the next morning, when I woke up and the publicist for the movie, Reggie Hudlin, my phone was blowing up, and they were like, you got to interview here, you got to interview there. This person wants you. Another, my attorney was like, we got 5 scripts on the desk and it's only noon. It was like, wait a minute. And they were like, oh, House Party is a hit. Like, there's lines outside of the afternoon showing, and I couldn't believe it. That's when I knew. I said, okay, this is crazy. And it never stopped. That's the interesting thing. I thought, okay, it's a new movie. It's new for the culture. I knew that. It was the first time hip hop had hit cinema. I knew that. You know, a lot of times first times like playset, first times don't always mean skyrocket, right? So I knew it was a lot of firsts, but I had no idea that it had hit that fast, that hard until the next day. And it just kept going. It just kept going.
So it was literally life-changing for you all. Will you all say that? Yeah. Was it life-changing for all three of you?
I just realized it was a hit last week, so I'm still. I'm still coming to terms with it, because when people give voice to what that movie has meant to them, I'm like, really? You know, because my favorite is Class Act, but I get House Party. But the thing is that I can really appreciate that, and really seeing, because I have yet to watch it except for the premieres or whatever, or either I'll turn fast from it when my part comes on. But now when I really watch it under a different mindset, emotion, spirit, I'm like, oh, I get it. I get it now.
And then there'll be times when Play and I will be together and people go nuts. Like still, just to see us together, or if me, Kid, and Play are together, or forget the four of us. If the four of us are together, it's over. But I mean, you know, we can have lunch or something and it won't even be anything industry related. And the restaurant will just go bonkers because we're in there. It's like,
you get the food for free.